What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're in the kitchen of the house right now. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a full shot of the kitchen right here, but we have lived for 7 years in this house. I have built 2 kitchens, neither of them for here. They were for brother-in-law and my dad. But this kitchen, we are not going to be rebuilding today. We are going to be refinishing. So 7 years of using this kitchen pretty much all day, not even just 3 times a day. It has some wear and tear on the cabinet doors. Some of the finish has worn off, so it's time for a refresh. So what we're going to do today is take all of the door and drawer fronts off, get them all cleaned up. We're going to retone them, and then we're going to shoot multiple coats of General Finishes 2K polyurethane on the top of these, revitalizing them hopefully for 7 years or more to come, when maybe it is time to finally redo this kitchen. Before removing anything from the kitchen or even taking them off of the cabinet boxes, I used some painter's tape and a permanent marker to write down the cabinet's doors for the top and the bottom. So on the top I put a T, and then I put the number going clockwise around the room, and for the bottom I put a B and the number going clockwise around the room, and then top to bottom for something like a drawer front that we have right here. Then using a drill, pulled off all of the drawer fronts and the hardware, and then I used a couple of different plastic containers to keep track of all the screws, all of the hinges, although the hinges I take off later, so all the screws and all the hardware. There was a couple situations like this where just needed touch-ups. Screws needed to be tightened, drawer slides needed to be adjusted moderately, so I took care of that kind of stuff. Here you can see I'm using those plastic containers, like I said, to make sure I don't lose anything, and attempting to not lose anything down the drain of the sink as well. Once I got all the cabinets out to the shop, it was time to remove all of the hardware. Again, a couple of plastic buckets and some magnetic trays to keep track of all the screws and the hinges. And when I did set everything in the shop, I kind of kept the top and the bottom separate, just because the bottoms need a little bit more work because they get more damage, but we'll talk about that in a second. We've got a lot of grease and grime and dirt on these cabinets, so I'm using some of this orange cleaner. It's literally just called orange cleaner, from what used to be Art Van back in the day when I bought an original bedroom set probably 13 years ago. And we've had it ever since. So liberal application of this because it is grimy, and even if they might not look dirty, I'm going over everything just because there is some dust on the less used cabinets. And then like right here, these are over the stove, so there's some distillation of food and steam and stuff like that. So get them all nice and clean so we can scratch them up and get a good bond surface for our new finish, and any toning or color if we got to get it on there. This definitely did take plenty of time to make sure everything was clean, but don't overlook this. You don't want any grease spots to prevent good adhesion of your new expensive top coat. And now we're getting into actually finessing and cleaning up these cabinets a little bit, because there is damage. When we get a close-up shot here, you can see where just the wear and tear of daily life has damaged the corners of these rails and stiles. So sanding them up so that we can get the color on there and also get a good bond with the General Finishes clear coat. So the bottom doors, so this is B8, they have much more damage, which this is more used because this is what the kids get into, so drawer fronts have some damage as well. But thankfully, the top ones are in pretty good shape, so I'm just going to hit them with some steel wool to scuff them up so we can get the new finish from General Finishes to bond on there. But the bottom ones are what are going to take a little bit of toning and a little bit of artwork. But I'm going to scratch all these up, clean them up, set them to the side, and then we'll look at toning up the bottom ones. Yes, I'm using steel wool. I think I have O right here instead of sanding, and that's just because it seems like it doesn't leave as deep as scratch marks. It's a finer scratch, which is exactly what we need for the bonding of the finish. The bigger scratches, just a little harder to get invisible. Time for a little bit of artwork. General Finishes has come out with the touch-up markers, and they have some fill markers as well, which is basically kind of like a wax. If you go to General Finishes, you can find legend of what you want to use, which group 3 is for a black cherry markup stain. Black cherry is very close to these. So what I have found seems to work very well is actually group 15, go over the pure edges, the raw edges with that, and then go over it with the Group 3, which reddens it up a little bit. And then what I'm actually doing is just a dabble of black finish over the whole thing to kind of blend it in, and it seems to work out very well. So again, the markers are just kind of along the edge where there was where it's rubbed raw down to the natural wood. Just go along like that, and this dries very, very quickly, so you can just go over it, and then if you go on the actual stain surface a little bit, you can just wipe it off, and then you can go right over with the other color. If it's not on the edge though, like in the routed portion, I found this is a little bit too dark, so try not to get it into there. There's the 15. Go back over it with the Group 3. It seems to redden it up a little bit. And this one you can also get into the corners here, and it matches very nicely. So the bottom cabinets on the bottom of the kitchen are the only ones that are going to need such extensive repair. The top ones I'll just go over them very lightly with the black cherry just to make sure all of our colors match up well. Here you can kind of see what it was. This one is actually in better shape than this one was. Yeah, I'm actually very happy with that. Get the clear coat on that, it's gonna look great. But it does take a while. Group 3, Group 15. I don't really know which order is best. It actually seems like 3 first, then followed by 15 is better, but I guess it's not noticeable enough to really make any difference. Definitely Group 15, I don't like to put into the corners, into the crevasses. It's a little bit too dark. Very little of this stain is actually going to absorb into the wood, but we just want to make sure we have an even toning all the way across the doors and the drawer fronts, which is why we're doing this quick application. I have found that a sponge applicator on the handle there is the easiest way, the most uniform way to apply this water-based stain from General Finishes. I've tried various different ways, but it seems like the sponge application is the best. Put a little bit on there, and we are making sure we thoroughly wipe off so that we don't have any huge color variation. Like I said, very little is actually soaking in here. It's just to make sure we have even coloring all the way across the door fronts. And Ethan was able to go out there and do the marking up with the pens that I was doing earlier, and I was able to apply the stain. This is the main door that's on the cabinet that dishes go into. As you can see, it's got a crack, probably from being used so much. This is the side the hinges are on. So I'm going to shoot a dowel through here as deep as I can go to try to reinforce this. Then I'll smash a little glue in there and clamp it up, and hopefully the dowel will help keep things sturdier. For the top coat on these cabinets, we're going back to our trusty General Finishes, but we're using a new offering from them, which is an Enduro 2K polyurethane. This is fully tintable. They have information on the back here. So you can pretty much get any color you want, but this is a high solid. It's going to have a high buildup, and it's going to have great protection against chemicals and water. So this should be fantastic and a much, much better finish than was on these kitchen cabinets. The better than what was on there before. So this is a two-part, so you got to put a catalyst to activate this. It's going to dry in something along the lines of 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the humidity, which it's a little bit humid out right now. But also, the biggest thing is this has a full cure time for full use in about 5 days, whereas most finishes, like the other 1K polyurethane that I like, or a pre-catalyzed lacquer, are going to have something along the lines of a 1 month cure time. So this is going to set up and be ready to use super duper fast. Because of that quick dry time, I should be able to get 3 coats on today, no problem, even though it is kind of humid outside. We'll see how that goes. And we are spraying over a finish that was already there. Mind you, we buffed it up, so we have a good chemical adhesion going on right there. So this should be very high quality finish on these cabinets when we're done. I've used General Finishes 1K polyurethane on kitchens in the past. Mind you, not for my kitchen. Everything seems to have held up fantastically. So I'm very excited to get this 2K polyurethane on our house, use it every single day, all day long, and see how it holds up. Alrighty, it is spray time. Got my spray clothes on, my filthy pants, using the big gun, so it's a little bit out of balance, but once the hose is on, they're not too bad. I like to wear a full face 3M mask, because otherwise, in the past, I've gotten stuff in my eyes, and it takes a long time to get out of there. So, highly recommend one of these. And then these are organic carbon filters, because this does have a bit of VOCs in it, so you can smell it some. Better to just protect yourself. You need a mask, period, but you may not necessarily need the carbon, the organics. So I got the Fuji Q5 over here, got all my materials stacked up over here. I can get it on my turntable, DIY turntable. And then to the side here, I have my DIY folding door rack that I've used so many times now. Folds up nice and compact. So I'll go over here, spray in a crosshatch pattern, go onto the rack to dry, and that's it. It should go relatively quickly because we only got to spray the front side. You guys know that I like applying finish with a sprayer. Spray finisher don't do it at all. I actually have a sweatshirt that says that, always cracks me up. But I do really enjoy this, which is funny because I absolutely hate putting on finish of any other sort in any other method. Here you can see me adjusting the spray gun several times to make sure I'm getting the right flow and the right fan pattern so that I am laying out the proper amount of finish. And really, you can use a scrape gauge to make sure you're laying down the right mil thickness, but I've done enough gallons of General Finishes over the past that I have a pretty good idea as I'm applying it to be able to get the finish that I want. While that is a big stack of drawer and door fronts over there, it really didn't take me very long to get an application on everything. Mostly that's because I was only spraying one side, so I could just motor right through. But also, the General Finishes 2K polyurethane sets up to be touch safe in about 30 minutes. So honestly, by the time I was done with the first one, I could almost turn around after applying on everything and pick it right up again and start over again. While everything was drying outside, I did move inside and use the same combination of touch-up pens from General Finishes to make sure we had no dings and dents on the face frames. And then we put everything back in reverse of when we took it off, so I'm not going to show that again, but everything went back right where it belonged because we did label everything, and it worked out well. Well, folks, that is a wrap on this project. It was a relatively quick one, although having a nice sprayer really helps making a project like this go super fast. Now, you don't need an expensive Fuji Q5 Platinum like I do. You can get a less expensive Fuji, or even something like a Wagner will put on a very good quality finish, and you'll be able to spray and refinish cabinets just like this one. So just like that, we have rebreathed 5 or 6, 7 years of life into these cabinets. I do gotta say though, we're actually talking about redoing the kitchen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It helps some of you out. If you need to repair your cabinets, Check out General Finishes for all of the quality pens, wax fillers, and the top quality finishes like I use today. I'm DIY Tyler, and you guys have a good one.